Anybody in here have older brothers and sisters? Raise your right hand. If you have an older brother or sister. The only reason that older brothers and sisters are here on this planet is to make their younger brothers and sisters' lives miserable. I'm serious, man. I believe that. My brother, dude, he was crazy. And we grew up and we watched WWF wrestling. It's called WWE now, but then it was WWF. And I don't watch it anymore, but I was 3 years old. My brother was 6. My brother was into it, and I wanted to be like him. And I was 3 years old, about 3 foot tall, chubby little booger. And I was with my bro, and I learned to leave 5 minutes before the show was over because my brother would get this strange look in his eye. Like he was gonna kill me. And his head would begin to turn around, spin around in circles with red eyes, and he would float in the air. No, I'm just joking. I thought that. And I went to my mom, and moms are geniuses. I was like, Mom, my brother's gonna give me brain damage if you don't help me. And she is a genius. She went out and she got my brother and I 2 big stuffed animals. And you're like, stuffed animals? No, I'm talking, we were this tall. She got us life-size stuffed animals. She got my brother this nasty little rabbit. It had red eyes, I swore. It had red eyes. I was like, oh my goodness. My mom, she got me, though, the cutest teddy bear you ever seen in your life. Dude, this teddy bear was like this tall. It was blue upper torso, gray lower body. It had 2 gray suspenders, 2 black beady eyes, and I named him Max. Everybody say Max. I love Max, dude. Me and Max, we were homies. Sorry, a few teachers, we were best friends. We were good friends. And when I took Max everywhere with me, dude, I went outside in the sandbox. Max and I became good friends. You know why? Because Max didn't tell me I was stupid like my brother did. But after a while, Max became tattered, he became torn, he became messed up. Instead of having 2 gray suspenders, he began to have 1 gray suspender because I pulled the other one off. Instead of having 2 black beady eyes, Max began to have 1 black beady eye because I wanted to see what he looked like as a pirate. And Max became tattered, he became torn, he became messed up, jacked up, ripped up, and he had a little slit in his left cheek where stuffing was coming out all over my mom's house. And my mom came to me, she's like, Jason, Max is sick. And I was like, what? There's nothing wrong with him. I like his eye, 1 eye. I call him 1 eye. And she's like, Max is sick because she didn't like her house getting messed up because all the stuff is coming out. She said, let me take Max to the animal hospital because she knew she couldn't be like, give me Max, I'm throwing him away. So let me take Max and let me put him in the animal hospital. I was like, okay, there's an animal hospital. I began to get older. I began to realize my life was like Max. You say you were a blue bear with, no. See, all of us, when we came into this world, we didn't have a choice, and we came into this world, and dude, we were without spot or wrinkle, but because of some of the circumstances that happened to us, we became tattered, we became torn, we became messed up. And you can't see the scars on my outside. You just look at me and you say, man, he's a motivational speaker. Dude, he's funny. But you don't see the scars that I have on the inside, that I'm tattered, that I used to be torn. I grew up in a home, the reason why I used to be tattered and torn, I grew up in a home where my father was abusive to me. My dad used to come home and tell me how worthless I was, what a nobody I was. He would look at me and say, Jason, one of these days you're going to be just like me. He would beat on my brother and I. And I never would forget what my father said to me. He said, Jason, one of these days you're going to be just like me. I hated my dad for that. I never wanted to be like my father. So when I was 9 years old, I took my life into my own hands. I became suicidal. I used to go home. My mom, she had a .38 special revolver. It was black with a brown handle. She would hide it in her room because she didn't want one of her kids to get hurt. But my pain, did you hear what I said? My pain would always lead me to it because I thought within that gun was my freedom from the horrible life that I lived. And I would grab the gun, I would stick it to my head, I would put it to my chin. I would do everything trying to end my life because I hated myself. I didn't want to get beat anymore. I didn't want my dad to look at me and say, you're a nobody, you're nothing anymore. I didn't want to fail and get another F at school. I didn't want to not have any friends anymore. I know what it's like to go to bed and cry yourself to sleep because you feel like nobody cares. I know what it's like to look at yourself in the mirror and not like what you see. And I also know what it's like to go to school and put a smile on your face and act like everything's okay because you gotta be cool. But But let me tell you something, with everybody, coolness aside, no matter where you are in life, you can make it. You can make it. I didn't pull that trigger, did I? I made something myself. You know why? Because it goes back to what I said. You got a choice. You got a choice whether you're going to play the hand or whether you're going to fold. Don't fold. If I can make it, you can make it. Don't you give up. Don't you ever give